Hey and welcome to today's video. I'm Steffen from Tiltree.com, and in this short video presentation I want to talk to you about a very important skill that I think any serious poker pro should cultivate. And the skill that I'm talking about is self-awareness. And during this short video I'm going to give you some really cool information about what self-awareness is, how it relates to poker performance, and most importantly, how it will help you to make better decisions at the table. So without further ado, let's jump right into the presentation and I'll see you on the other side. The two guiding questions for this video presentation really are: what is self-awareness and how does it help you to play better poker? But before we answer this question, I would like to start with the definition of self-awareness. And I chose this one because I think it's a more pertinent one to the context of poker. Self-awareness is having a clear perception of your personality, including strengths, weaknesses, thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. And as you can see, I highlighted the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. And I simply did this because I think these are the three most important realms for you as a poker player. And in this very video, I am going to dive deeper into the behavioral part of this, simply because I think that at the end of the day, it's the behaviors that kind of hurt us. So there are either behaviors that we should not engage in, or there are behaviors that we should engage in, but we don't do it enough. And self-awareness really offers the context in which this particular new learning can take place. If you want to change dysfunctional behavior, or if you learn something new, you need to first become aware of the need to change or the need to enhance something. And while this may sound very obvious to you, unfortunately the way our human psyche is set up is that it is often very difficult for us to reflect on things that are very close to us. It is often hard for us to see that we're engaging in something that is not serving us, that is not serving our goals as a poker performer. And as you probably already know, dysfunctional behaviors, in quotes, really come in many forms, both on and off the table. And for the sake of this video, I chose two examples, but I would like to caution you not to take them too literal. These may or may not apply to your specific situation, but I just want to use them in order to bring a point across. So one example of a dysfunctional behavior could be not bluffing enough versus certain opponents, not because of, a game theoretically sound reasoning, but because of the history that you have with this opponent or a certain type of opponent. And what's happening here is that you may not even be aware of the fact that you are making a play that is not game theoretically optimal, simply because the way you perceive the situation. Your past learning experience, which are very much valid for you, may have caused you to deviate from the way you should play against this certain type of opponent, but without you being aware of it. You may have simply been in situations where you realized you should bluff less, and this becomes positively reinforced for you because you saw a certain outcome, and your mind, this is simply what our mind does, and your mind tries to make sense of it in the way, and the logical reason for you would be not to bluff enough. However, I don't want to get too strung up with this example. In this kind of situation, it's really important to either have someone else tell you that your thought process might be off in this situation, or to become really self-aware about all the processes that are going on within your head during this very situation, in order for you to be able to adapt, in order to change your behavior. And the second one There's also a common one, I guess, in the poker world, is not studying enough, not educating oneself enough. And again, this may or may not apply to you, but let me give you an example of a player who really skyrocketed through the levels and who in general has a very positive learning history, meaning he never really had to put that much effort into being a good student or good at a certain sport, and the same really applied to his poker career so far. And again, the normal kind of adaptation that this person's mind has gone through is that I don't need to educate myself that much in order to be a really good player. And once this person reaches a certain limit that becomes really hard to beat without, being absolutely at the top of the game, there will be some friction between the mindset and between what's right in front of him. But since he's learned, that he doesn't need to educate himself very much, it is very hard for him to take a step back and realize that his current mindset or her current mindset is not really serving him. And again, self-awareness is going to allow you to do this. Self-awareness is going to help you become aware of this mindset, become aware of the behaviors that you're engaging in that are not leading to the goals that you have, to the outcomes that you have. And the problem here really is what I alluded to a little earlier already, is that these kind of behaviors are overlearned. At some point they become automatic. They function like habits. And our brains, you gotta understand, is they try to conserve as much energy as possible. And in order to do this, we need to act on a lot of automatic behaviors and thought patterns. The problem with this, however, is that once these are in place, it is very hard to notice them because they have literally become automatic. And in order to reverse this process, we need to be able to identify this behavior as overlearned, as dysfunctional. So, how does self-awareness enhance poker performance then? Well, first of all, self-awareness will allow you to become aware of dysfunctional thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The more self-aware you are, the more you will be able to reflect on what's going on in front of you and what's going on within you. It literally will allow you to break these automatic processes, from like a neuroscientific perspective. And then you will be able, only then will you be able to replace them with more functional ones. And in order to do so, we first need to know where our thoughts, for example, go naturally before we can learn to move our attention elsewhere. At the end of the day, it is all a form of attention. Where do we focus on? Where do we put our attention to? Where is our concentration at this very moment? And the better you become at seeing or noticing where they are right now, the higher the chances that you can react flexibly, like instead of reacting, in a predetermined process on such an automatic process. Eventually, you will actually become able to totally regulate your attention willfully during play. And I hope you can see how this itself is going to help you dramatically enhance your focus and your concentration while playing. And secondly, it will also help you to regulate your emotions, because your emotions really function in a similar fashion as thoughts. They will pop up, and you will also have a learning history with emotions. If a certain emotion pops up, you might automatically behave in a certain way. Behave in a way that is not functional, that does not lead to the kind of outcomes at the poker table or off the table that you would like. The more self-aware you are, the more you will be able to regulate these emotions. The way you will be more able to take a step back from them and engage in a behavior that is much more functional than you used to. And lastly, I just want to give you a few tips on how you can increase self-awareness yourself. Now, first of all, any kind of meditation, any sort of meditative process will automatically increase self-awareness over time. Why is that? Simply because meditation requires you to focus your attention on internal events. And this way you're basically shining the spotlight on your thoughts and your emotions, particularly in this very instance. And you will get better at it. You will get better at noticing thoughts, noticing emotions, and you will get better at seeing how these eventually lead you to making decisions that are not serving you. Second, you should really engage in regular reflection. Any sort of reflection, any thought, any sort of thinking really, will help you to adopt a different perspective. And one way of doing this would be to have a performance journal, or a journal in general, in which you write down thought process, or how you experienced emotions during a session, or during studying, having a log of how you behaved through sessions. And the third one is seek honest and regular feedback. And again, this kind of takes advantage of the fact that we often as human beings have a hard time taking a serious and honest look at ourselves, because we are so consumed by our own thoughts, by the way we feel, the way we interact with the world, that we will often not be able to take the necessary steps back, or to adopt a different kind of perspective that would allow us to change or enhance a specific behavior. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure you got a lot of value from this. Please comment. Let me know what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like. And also, I would like to hear from you what kind of barriers you are personally facing in becoming a stronger poker player. And these barriers might be during play, or there might be things that happen outside of you playing. This is it for today. I wish you a great day. Make sure to share this video with anyone you think will benefit from it. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, thank you.